East Alabama, West Georgia, United States of America, the world. Wherever you may be listening and watching us this evening, Dr. Don with you from Dr. Don's weather page. And yes, we are watching a landfalling hurricane in Gulf Shores, Alabama. That shot that you're looking at right now is from one of the resorts there in Gulf Shores out on the beach. And we have been watching this shot pretty much all afternoon. It's been hasn't been awfully bad down there so far, but just in the last 30 minutes or so, this camera shot is really beginning to tell the story. You cannot see the beach anymore because of the loss of daylight, which we were going to use that as a tool to kind of judge as to how bad the flooding is getting down there. But you can certainly see that we've got at least tropical storm force winds sustained at 35 to 40 miles per hour, if not higher gust. And so what we're going to do over the next, hour or so is kind of go around and look at some different live video. We've got several different live cameras up. We have already lost some of them, but we do have a few still up, and we've also got some storm chasers down there. We'll switch over to their video from time to time and show you what that looks like as well. But before we start doing all that and answering questions in the comments, let's go ahead and kind of go through our daily primetime forecast so that you will know what to expect wherever you are in Alabama or Georgia. And for those of you that are new to this, we do a daily primetime weather forecast. It generally goes out late afternoon, early evening, and then we go live during times of threatening or severe weather to provide severe weather coverage for East Alabama and West Georgia primarily. But when we have a major weather event such as Hurricane Sally, we cover that also because we have so many folks whose second home is right there what you're looking at. So many folks across East Alabama and West Georgia frequent Orange Beach, Gulf Shores, Dauphin Island, even over into Destin and Panama City. I've already talked to several folks that are down there right now, but they're okay over towards PC, but you don't want to be in Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, or Dauphin Island right now, or even over in Biloxi, Mississippi. Not good places to be. So let's go ahead and take a look at the forecast, and then we'll chit-chat, and I'll answer questions if you have any in the chat room. Already getting questions about particular locations across East Alabama. So let's go ahead and get going with our weather forecast, and we'll talk about it. The Mad Scientist board is back. Folks, this is just incredible. I've been doing this a long time, and I know this has happened before, but it's been a minute since we have seen the tropics this active. I'm telling you, this is just crazy. Of course, we have Hurricane Sally with sustained winds of 80 miles per hour. Sally is positioned about 60 miles south of Mobile, Alabama at this hour, beginning to move very so slowly to the north at about 2 miles per hour. Folks, you can walk faster than that. And so for that reason, we're going to see horrible flooding is going to take place across the Mobile Bay area, back over toward the islands, Gulf Shores, and either side of Mobile is going to see tremendous amounts of flooding. This is going to rival Hurricane Harvey. Remember Harvey over in Houston several years ago? And Hurricane Florence up in North Carolina and South Carolina caused so much flooding up there. Well, Sally is going to be remembered for the same thing. It's going to be flooding. We've got a hurricane that's pretty much stalled out and is drifting very slowly to the north. And the longer that thing sits there, the more water is just going to pile up right there along the Alabama Gulf Coast and the Northwest Florida Gulf Coast, as well as the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Rainfall totals of 20-plus inches, not going to surprise me at all once this is said and done. All right, so then we have disturbance number 1, which is down there in the western Gulf of Mexico. That probably will not be an issue for the southeastern United States. Only about a 20% chance of developing into something tropic anyway. Hurricane Paulette. We didn't think Paulette was going to cause much of a problem across the eastern half of the United States, but the waves from Hurricane Paulette have made it to the eastern seaboard, and we understand that we have some significant flooding taking place in Charleston, South Carolina, and that is from a hurricane that's way out to sea. 100-mile-per-hour sustained winds. Paulette is still drifting to the north. Then we have Tropical Storm Teddy. Teddy formed earlier today, 65-mile-per-hour sustained winds. We have Tropical Storm Vicky, 45-mile-per-hour sustained winds. And then we have disturbance number 2, which is just coming off of the African coast with a 70% chance of developing into something tropic in the next 5 days or so. Now, none of these other systems are poised at the moment to threaten the United States other than Sally and the wave action that we're getting off of Paulette. But we'll watch these other systems as we go throughout the next several days to see exactly what they are going to do. All right, so let's take a closer look at Sally. And here's the latest graphic from the National Hurricane Center. As of 7 p.m. this evening, Hurricane Sally was about 60 miles south of the Mobile Bay, drifting very slowly to the north at about 2 miles per hour, with maximum sustained winds of 80 miles per hour. And the latest Air Force Hurricane Hunter reconnaissance aircraft just finished flying, and they did find some lowering pressure, which is an indication of strengthening. However, Sally has been sitting in the same spot now for so long, we have what's referred to as upwelling taking place. And what's happening is the storm hasn't moved, so it is churning the cooler waters on the bottom of the ocean to the surface. Well, hurricanes have to have warm water to survive. So we've got some cooler waters coming to the top. Even though the pressure is coming down a few millibars, I think that cooler water and a little bit of wind shear in the area is going to keep Sally in check as far as the wind strength is concerned. I don't really expect we'll see much fluctuation in that 80-mile-per-hour sustained winds before Sally makes landfall, and then Sally will start falling apart rather quickly once she makes landfall. So I don't think that Sally is going to be remembered for massive wind damage. I'm sure there will be a tree down here or there. There'll be some shingles blown off of roofs. There will be some siding misplaced. And there could even be some trees blown down across some structures that does cause major damage. But I don't think we're looking at total devastation from hurricane-force winds across the Gulf Coast. I think once this is done and we go back into the history books, we'll see that Sally will be remembered for the massive amounts of flooding that's taking place now and will continue to take place over the next 24 hours or so across the northern Gulf Coast of the United States, down there in the Gulf of Mexico. And then as Sally turns to the north and off to the northeast, we could have some inland flooding problems as well. So here's the timing. You see Sally there at 7 p.m. this evening, just like I said, 60 miles south of Mobile. We think Sally will continue to drift to the north, and then once making landfall, which will probably be sometime after midnight tonight or toward daybreak tomorrow morning, then Sally will start that right-hand turn, and that is going to be critical as to who gets what and when. So if Sally goes a little further north than expected, then that heavy rain shield is going to lift north as well. If Sally turns to the right sooner than expected, and that's certainly possible, then that rain shield may go a little bit further south than expected. You know, it's hard to predict what's going to happen when the thing won't move. I mean, it's just almost impossible to tell you what's coming next if there is no action, and there hasn't been. Sally's just been sitting there all day long. And the reason why Sally has stalled, we have a backdoor cold front coming back down from the northeast, pushing back into Georgia. Trust me, it has felt like it was in the 60s up here all day long today with a pretty brisk easterly wind. And because that cold front is coming down from the northeast, Sally has just kind of run into a roadblock. So now it's a kind of a wait-and-see game as to who's going to win this thing. Is Sally going to punch on through that cold front? Will the cold front stall out and allow Sally to go ahead and continue her journey? These are all very valid questions. The best scientists and the best weather minds and the best models out there seem to think that we will see landfall after midnight tonight or by sunrise tomorrow morning, and that Sally will continue to curve on off to the right on that track you see right there in front of you. Over the north end of the Mobile Bay by 1 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon, and then to a position right along I-65 south of Montgomery around 1 a.m. Thursday morning, maybe somewhere around Greenville or Fort Deposit. And then right along the Alabama-Georgia border over in East Alabama, maybe southern Lee County, down there around Beauregard maybe, by 1 p.m. Thursday afternoon. And then to a point over in south central Georgia by 1 o'clock Friday morning, and then over into South Carolina, maybe close to Columbia, South Carolina, by 1 o'clock Friday afternoon. I know it seems silly. This is a very dangerous, life-threatening situation, but you wouldn't believe the number of folks I've already had asked the question about football Friday night. So I'll address that for you. Right now, if Sally does start to move north and takes this track on this timetable, you won't believe how wonderful the weather is going to be Friday night across East Alabama and West Georgia. It's going to feel like a late October Friday night. It's going to be cool, maybe still a little bit breezy. Cannot completely rule out the possibility of a scattered shower here or there, but the heavy rains that you're about to see across East Alabama and West Georgia will be long gone by kickoff Friday night. All right, so here's the spaghetti models, the latest from the National Hurricane Center on what happens to Sally moving forward. And as we just told you, we expect her to make landfall right there around the mouth of the Mobile Bay. Dauphin Island, Fort Morgan could certainly be ground zero. As a matter of fact, I think there's a good chance that's what we're looking at. Just got notified. We've got a tornado warning now for Panama City. We'll go take a look at that in just a few moments, too. And I believe that's going to be the first tornado warning that's been issued. I haven't seen any other warnings so far today, but we'll go look at that on radar in just a few moments. All right, so we have that track coming up and going through south central Alabama and then over into Georgia. You'll see, though, that we still have somewhat of a spread there among the models. Sally could take a hard right turn right where she's at and actually make landfall over there around Pensacola. That's an outlier. I really don't think that'll happen. But we certainly could see a little jog to the right just before landfall, which would put that storm right over Dauphin Island, Fort Morgan, out there where the ferry crosses the Mobile Bay. Yeah, that would be a bad place to be. And then other models bring it over to the left and up through central Alabama and right across maybe even Randolph County before cutting back across Atlanta and then over into central South Carolina. So somewhere in between those two variables, I think is where the truth lies, and it would be most likely right there along that black line that you're looking at right there in the middle. That is the official track of the National Hurricane Center, and that's our story. And for the moment, we are sticking to it. All right, so here's the Storm Prediction Center convective outlook for your Wednesday. Severe weather, I think, will be limited to Panama City, Apalachicola, down in the Big Bend area of Florida. That's where the best chance of severe weather will be. Now, there is a marginal risk of severe storms from Mobile back up to about Montgomery, over to around Auburn, and then back over into southern Georgia. And then just general scattered thunderstorms for the rest of Alabama and Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, and most of North Carolina on your Wednesday. I don't anticipate widespread severe weather anywhere across our primary coverage area, which is East Alabama and West Georgia. Could we have a strong to marginally severe storm from time to time? Certainly we could. We could even have a pop-up small tornado, but it's not likely across East Alabama or West Georgia. The further south and east you go, the better the chances are of severe weather on Wednesday and on Thursday. Here's the national map in motion, and you can see you can see Sally. You can see Sally make landfall there at Mobile and then take that right-hand turn, just like we talked, and coming across central Alabama, maybe southeast Alabama. Understand there's a huge rain shield to the north of this storm. So even if the storm doesn't track up over Prattville, if it doesn't track up over Birmingham, it is going to push a significant rain shield well north of the center of circulation. So yes, Prattville, you're going to get rain. Yes, Birmingham, you're going to get rain. The further north and west you go, the least amount of rain you'll see. But right there along the center, maybe 50 to 75 miles north of the center, and then to the east and south of the centers where the heavy rainfalls and gusty winds are going to be on Wednesday night, and into Thursday. Here's your latest satellite shot. Boy, she's a mean-looking storm. You see it wrapping up pretty good right there. We had a lot of dry air filtering in on the west side of the storm for most of the day, but looking at the latest GOES East Southern Mississippi Valley satellite shot from 22,000 miles above Earth puts it into perspective, doesn't it? And you can see that she's looking pretty symmetrical this evening. So the dry air, not nearly as much of a factor as it was earlier today. And though it's not expected, a quick burst right before landfall certainly isn't out of the question. We've seen that happen before. Remember Hurricane Michael? We thought we were dealing with a strong Cat 2 or a weak Cat 3. Ended up being almost a Category 5 by the time it made landfall over there at Mexico Beach. So, and that explosion happened just within hours of landfall. So this will be interesting to watch over the next few hours to see what Sally does. Rainfall for the past 24 hours ending at 7 a.m. this morning. Not a whole lot across East Alabama and West Georgia. Just about a quarter of an inch measured in some spots there in Clay and Randolph, up into Cleburne, back over into Hurd and Coweta. But hang on. Look at this. As we look out through the next 5 days, and the majority of this will happen on Wednesday night, and Thursday, there will be some spots across East Alabama and West Georgia that could see 8, 9, maybe even 10 inches of rain. So be prepared for that. Again, if the storm tracks a little further north, it's going to push that heavy rain north. If it tracks a little further south, it's going to pull that rain a little bit further south. So I'm just saying that it's possible you could see that much. I'm not saying that that's what you're going to see. But 8, 9, 10-inch totals across most of East Alabama or West Georgia is certainly possible on Wednesday night, and into Thursday. Temperatures for your Wednesday. Boy, this is we're going to call this Hurrifall. I mean, I don't remember ever having a hurricane with temperatures in the low 70s. I mean, normally it's in the mid to upper 80s at least during hurricane season. So here comes your Hurrifall forecast for Wednesday. 72 in Roanoke, Wadley, Wedowee, Woodland, Frog Eye. Miss Mary, get them frogs in the house. They're going to float away. Dadeville goes to 72. That seems to be the number. Ashland, Lineville, 72. Franklin, 71. I got Carrollton covered up right there accidentally, but they're at 69 for a daytime high on Wednesday with a brisk easterly wind and perhaps torrential rainfall by late in the day on Wednesday across this entire area that you're looking at right here on the map. So here are your current conditions. Wind out of the east at around 5 miles per hour, maybe occasionally gusting up to around 10. 81% humidity, that will continue to go up. Dew points will also continue to rise. We have mostly cloudy skies for the moment. 71 is your current temperature. Of course, the heat index is not an issue right now. Visibility, that's probably back down to around 8 miles at the moment. Sunrise for tomorrow, 6:27 a.m. And then sun sets on Wednesday at 6:47 p.m. All right, so here we go. Let's take a look at the radar. And this is the latest radar loop. This is where we're going to kind of get into the live stuff. So bear with me while while I make a couple of adjustments here. And that is not the absolute latest. Let's see if we can get it to load. But I'll tell you that it's pretty close. This eye is just a shade bit closer, but I want you to look at the track. That's the main reason I'm showing you this anyway. I want you to look at the track. Oh, and I know why that's not working. Hang on a second. Let's start that over. Now we're going somewhere. And let's go down here and turn the track on for Sally. Okay, now we're cooking. All right, so I want to start down here at the storm, and then we're going to ride through the state of Alabama. I'm going to show you where it's going to go. I got to be honest with you, this is looking more and more like, let's let it loop. Yeah. I think we're looking at Gulf Shores. I think if it continues on the track that it's going right now, I think we're looking at landfall, Gulf Shores, Fort Morgan, Oyster Bay. You know how low to the water it is out here. I mean, we're talking, what, a foot above sea level? Yeah, that's already underwater, and it's only going to get worse before it gets any better. So if you, hopefully if you were at Dauphin Island, Fort Morgan, Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, you got out, because that's not going to be a nice ride down there tonight. And it's going to be because of the water. All right, so we're looking at landfall now somewhere between Fort Morgan and Gulf Shores. And then pretty much immediate turn to the right after we make landfall. And then we're going to come on up to around Bruton, and then pretty much run parallel to I-65 through southwest Alabama. Maybe up there to around Evergreen between Georgiana and Brantley and Luverne down there on 331. Maybe just a little bit to the east of Greenville. And then over to a point near Union Springs. And north of Eufaula. If this track is correct, it will stay, the core, the center of circulation, will stay out of Lee County, just barely. And then come right over Columbus, pretty close to Tableton. Come right over Macon, close to Milledgeville, Rennes, Georgia, near Jackson, just south of Augusta. That is in South Carolina. And then cross over 26 south of Columbia, just north of Orangeburg. And then the track stops by the time it gets over there to I-95 just south of Florence. Florence, South Carolina is one of the locations that got so much rain from Hurricane Florence. Now here comes another one. So that's what the track looks like right now. But once again, folks, you know, a shift of 50 to 75 miles to the north or to the south can make a huge difference on who gets what. You see that the rain shield right now is stretching from about Monroeville all the way back out to the storm. And that's going to lift north along with the storm. So it will easily put this rain into East Alabama. Now, the next big question is, how long does it take to get in and out? It's certainly not going to sit over East Alabama as long as it is sat down here in the Gulf of Mexico. We think we'll have a pretty good forward motion going on by that time. So it shouldn't linger very long, and that's good. But it's going to bring a lot of rain. Again, up to 10 inches of rain certainly possible over the next couple of days. So now I'm going to show you what the computer thinks is going to happen. This is a computer model run that started at 8 o'clock tonight, and it'll go through 1 o'clock Friday morning. So here we go, about 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. We're getting landfall right there around the Mobile Bay. And then we hit I-65 around 10 o'clock in the morning. And now we're riding right up I-65 just south of Montgomery by about 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Rains, the heavy rains start in East Alabama around 3 or 4 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon. And then by about 2 a.m. on Thursday, the heaviest rain is gone. And then as we get into 1 a.m. Friday morning, there's nothing happening across East Alabama. And there we go. We're into early Friday, or actually Thursday night right now. And you see that the rain is already gone. There's 1 a.m. Friday, nothing happening. Now we're going to start this over and zoom it in. And we start to get a little rain in there around 3 o'clock on Wednesday morning. That's tomorrow morning. But this is light stuff for the most part, though it will be steady, and occasionally we could have some tropical downpours. But the really good, juicy, heavy rain with the, inch per hour stuff gets in here around 3 or 4 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon. I've stopped it right there. That's at 5:13. Look at that heavy rain in Sylacauga, Alexander City, Lanett, LaGrange, up there around Talladega, Auburn. We're talking copious amounts of rain. Here we go at 7:22 on Wednesday evening. Wedowee, Talladega, Sylacauga, Alabaster, over there in south of Birmingham, LaGrange, Lanett. Here we are at 8:30 on Wednesday night. We're going to start about 3 or 4 o'clock Wednesday afternoon, and this is going to carry on for just shy of 12 hours before we get this stuff out of here. So for 12 hours, imagine this, raining about as hard as you could imagine. That's what we're looking at. We start to see the heavy stuff lift out around midnight, around midnight on Wednesday night into Thursday morning. We do have a few leftover showers hanging around, and that will continue on into probably sunrise on Thursday. And then we start to lose most of the moisture. It continues to race off to the northeast. By 10 o'clock Thursday morning, you see just a few scattered showers here and there. But this is very light stuff. And now we're at about 8 o'clock on Thursday night, nothing happening. And this loop will stop at about 1 a.m. Friday morning. So, if the timing is correct, and if Sally doesn't decide to sit out in the Guff for another 24 hours, and this track and timing is correct, then that's what I just showed you is what you're going to have. All right, let's take a look at the severe possibilities across Alabama. We do have some severe weather possibilities down in southeast Alabama, places like maybe Phoenix City, Eufaula, Troy, and then on down to maybe Enterprise, Dothan, and then into southwest Georgia, Donaldsonville. Places like that could see a quick spin-up tornado and some severe thunderstorms. But you see that we really don't have much of a risk of severe weather across our immediate coverage area, though a scattered heavy thunderstorm or two certainly is possible. All right, so that's the severe weather threat for Wednesday. That's from 3 o'clock Wednesday afternoon through 1 a.m. Here are the rainfall totals for Alabama. I am going to show you Georgia in just a few moments as well. Now again, folks, this is based upon the hurricane taking the track that I just showed you a few moments ago. Basically running up I-65, cutting just south of Montgomery, and then running just parallel to but south of I-85 over into Georgia. If that track verifies, and if that's what we end up with, then this is what we think we'll see as far as rainfall is concerned. North of I-20, basically 4 to 6 inches. South of I-20, anywhere from 8 to 10 inches. And then down there in extreme southeast Alabama, 4 to 6. Now, that lines up pretty good with what Georgia is going to show us here in just a few moments. But let me go in a little bit closer on Alabama. And you see right there, most of Randolph is in the 8 to 10 inch range. You get down there, Alexander City, back down to Montgomery, maybe 10 inches. Looks plausible there. Auburn, Opelika, 6 to 8 inches. And I know I sound like a broken record, but I want to make sure you guys understand what I'm saying. If the track that I just showed you shifts further north or further south, so shall these numbers. I mean, if we end up with a 90-degree turn to the right after landfall and the storm tracks across South Alabama, then that 8 to 10 inches is going to go way south. And we're going to see 3 to 4 inches across East Alabama, or maybe even less than that. If the storm tracks further north before making that right-hand turn, then that 8 to 10 and 10-inch total could get bumped a little further north and east. There's a bus factor in every forecast you hear, and so understand that if the storm doesn't take the exact track we expect, then these numbers may be off a bit. So that'll get fine-tuned as we go. This is a fluid situation. It's changing by the hour, in some cases by the minute. So we will change the forecast to go along with it as we go. As I said earlier, it's extremely hard to forecast something that won't move. All right, so here's the flash flood watch. This is from 7 a.m. Wednesday through 7 p.m. Thursday. Rainfall totals of 4 to 9. Maybe some localized heavier amounts are possible. Flooding is certainly a possibility, and this covers the entire Dr. Don weather page coverage area across East Alabama and West Georgia. Goes all the way up to I-59 near Gadsden, comes back to Birmingham, back over to Tuscaloosa, and then down to Demopolis, and all points south and east. So all of Central Alabama, South Alabama, East Alabama, West Georgia, all of you are under a flash flood watch, or will be when it kicks off at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Here's a wind advisory that's already been issued for South Alabama. These will be for sustained winds at 15 to 25 miles per hour, with occasional gusts to around 45 miles per hour. And that's pretty much on a line from Demopolis to Auburn and south. That does include Montgomery, Elmore, Lowndes, Autauga, and Dallas counties of, and we do have quite a few folks in Central Alabama that watch us, so we'll cover that for you. Saw one of my schoolmates in there just a few moments ago. And, of course, Lee County is certainly in our coverage area. So you are under a wind advisory, and that will go into effect at 7 a.m. Wednesday and run through 7 o'clock on Thursday as well. Now, to points north of this line that we're showing you now, 25 to 30, maybe 35 mile per hour occasional gusts, certainly possible during some of the heavier downpours. Understand how this works. That heavy rain pushes the wind to the surface. So when you get under one of those big, huge tropical downpours, that's when you're likely to see more gusty winds. And so wind gust in Randolph, Clay, Coosa, Tallapoosa, Chambers, Talladega, Cleburne, and then over in Georgia, Carroll, Hurd, Troop, and Harris, you could see wind gusts of 25 to 35 miles per hour from time to time, but it won't be sustained. And we don't really expect to see any major wind problems, even though with the ground being completely saturated like we're going to see, it doesn't take a whole lot of wind to bring some trees down. So while we don't anticipate widespread tree damage or power outages, there certainly could be spots across East Alabama and West Georgia where we could have some trees come down and take the power out. So as I always say, the best course to take here is just to prepare like you're going to go on a 3 to 5 day primitive camping trip. That way, if you do lose power, you can carry on because you'll have everything that you need. So here are the maximum wind gusts from the National Weather Service in Birmingham. You'll see 29 miles per hour there at Alexander City. Clanton, probably about 30. Montgomery goes to 38. Just saw a question about Ozark. There you go, Ozark. 40 mile per hour gusts are possible down there in the Ozark, Troy areas of southeast Alabama. Eufaula maybe around 25 miles per hour. Wind gust up to 31 miles per hour in Auburn. Selma, you're looking at about 35. And then you get over into East Alabama, Wedowee, Roanoke, Lafayette, Ashland, Lineville, Talladega. We're probably on the order of about 23 to 25 miles per hour should be the maximum wind gust, though we can't rule out the possibility of a higher gust, especially in the higher elevations, such as northeast Randolph County, Woodland, Graham. You guys could see an occasional higher gust because of your elevation. And then also back up there in northern Clay, when you get up there around Mount Cheahaw at a higher elevation up there, you could see some higher gusts as well. But overall, we're not looking at major damage from wind. Our biggest problem is going to be the possibility of flooding from all the rain that we are about to receive. All right, so let's look at Georgia, and it does line up pretty good with what Alabama put out. You're looking at 4 to 6, maybe 6 to 8 there across West Georgia, Troup County, Heard County. You're in that 6 to 8 inch range. Down there in Harris County, Muskogee, you're at about 4 to 6 inches. And then Carrollton North, you're looking at about 4 to 6 inches of rain there as well. Atlanta Metro is in that 6 to 8 inch category. And I can only imagine the problems that's going to cause in Atlanta with all that concrete. There's going to be flooding everywhere if this happens. But understand, this is a good possibility as we head into Wednesday and Wednesday night. So here's the flash flood watch for the state of Georgia. And you can see it's a good chunk of the state, all the way from the mountains of northeast Georgia back down to West Georgia, down to around Americus, then over to a point just north of Dublin, and pretty much all the way over to the South Carolina state line. That's a flash flood watch that starts at 2 p.m. Wednesday and goes through 8 a.m. Friday morning. So here's your 6-day forecast from the Shepherd's Weather Center on Dr. Don's weather page. Flash flood watch goes into effect Wednesday morning and goes through Thursday. 100% chance of rain across East Alabama and West Georgia on your Wednesday. Heavy rain at times. I think by mid-afternoon we're going to be socked in with very heavy rainfall, and that's going to last for 10 to 12 hours. 72 will be your daytime high on Wednesday, down to 67 on Wednesday night. 100% chance of rain continues on Wednesday night. Then on Thursday, a 90% chance of rain. I think that's primarily in the morning hours. I think by Thursday afternoon, the heavy rain is moving away. 75 will be your high, 66 your overnight low. 70% chance of a scattered shower on Thursday night. If the models are correct, that 70% chance of rain is a little overdone and may have to be whittled down or maybe even removed completely. Then on Friday, right now, for just to be on the safe side, we have a 40% chance of a scattered thunderstorm. But again, I don't think we're going to see anything like 40%. 76 will be your high on Friday, 20% chance on Friday night. Again, I think that's overdone as well, but we'll leave it in there until they officially take it out. 62 your overnight low. Should be a grand night for high school football. Then on Saturday, partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies. I think we start the day cloudy, and as we go throughout the day, we start to see more and more sun. 72 will be your high. And then here comes the Christmas present. On Sunday and Monday, they say 72 is absolute perfect, but I'll take 73 all day long. Beautiful, brilliant, sunshiny skies, 73, both on Sunday and Monday. And look at the overnight lows. Now, we're getting close to bonfire weather right there. 57, your overnight low on Saturday night, Sunday night, and again on Monday night. And the extended looks pretty good. We don't see a lot of rain. We don't see another tropical system messing with us in the long range, though that could change because there's plenty of opportunities out there. But the mild temperatures will warm up a little bit. 77 out there on the 22nd. 79 on the 23rd. The 24th would go to 82. Partly cloudy and 82 on the 25th, and then mild out there at the end of the extended period on the 26th. And the 27th. All right, folks, I'm going to take you over to a live shot that we've got going.
Talk to me, we can use that shot.
And what I'm going to do here, this is from stormchasing.com. This is Brett Adair. He's from Sylacauga, Alabama, and he's down there in Gulf Shores. I'm not sure exactly. That may be the public pier. I can't tell. But what I'm going to do, because I just finished talking nonstop for 44 minutes, I'm going to put his audio up and let you watch this for just a moment. Then I'm going to come back and start answering questions and show you some other camera shots for the next, 30 or 40 minutes or so. Now, I have to warn you, this is live audio. And when these guys get a little excited, things can slip. So I'm giving you that warning up front. So let's watch together, and I'll be right back with you with more on Dr. Don's weather page.
I lost you guys. Yep, I'm here. Now I can't hear you. Hello?
What's your audio?
On your camera, I'm assuming.
Okay. Hello? Hey. Okay. Hold on one second. Kill the audio real quick.
It's on your camera.
Oh, I got you.
Oh, we got your shot live.
Hey, your Weather Nation's about to take my shot live. Let me call you right back, okay? Alright.
You're good. It did show.
No, you're good.
Super duper.
All right, folks, Dr. Don back in here with you, taking a quick intermission there to let the voice rest for just a few moments. But back in here, and yeah, lots of comments going on in the chat room there, and I will look at some of those in just a few moments and answer some of those questions. I'm going to switch over to back to the shot that we were showing you earlier in the broadcast. This is Gulf Shores, Alabama. This is a live shot from one of the resorts down there. And you can certainly see a lot of wind action going on right there along the shoreline. And I can actually see the beach out there a little bit now, and it does look like the water has come a little bit closer to that seawall right there at the edge of the pool. So things looking rough down there in Gulf Shores. That's another shot. That is from the Phoenix 5, and it seems to be frozen. So we're going to, this is the Phoenix All Suites, and it's been out for a couple of hours now. This is a good shot here. Let me see if I can get this one to cooperate with us. Yeah, here we go. And that's right down on the water. That's at Sea and Suds in Gulf Shores. And you can see some pretty good wave action taking place out there. This one is at the Pink Pony. Let's see if we can get this one going. There we go. Everybody and his brother's probably trying to watch this camera, so it's buffering a pretty good bit, but that gives you a good idea of what things look right there at the Pink Pony. This next shot is the USS Alabama, and it is very dark. Typically, they have this camera pointed at the battleship, but they turned it this afternoon looking out over the bay. And so now that we've lost the sun, it's really hard to see anything on that one. This is downtown Pensacola. Lots of rain falling there. And then this last one was the airport, but it's gone down. So we'll just go back to this one. All right, so got a question. Is this coming to Billingsley, Alabama? Well, Billingsley, you're going to get some rain. If the storm takes the track that it's supposed to take, the center of circulation will not come over Billingsley. It'll stay south of I-65 and then turn back to the east and stay just south of I-85. But you will get some rain off of it up there in Billingsley, Alabama. Hello to Mr. Ron Abner, Stacy Richardson. We appreciate you being in here with us tonight. Let's see, Jessica Bryant. Hang on a second. I'm going to move my chat so I can see it a little bit better. Right now would be a good time to ask any questions that you might have about the storm. If you have questions about your particular area, right now would be a good time to ask those questions. Hello, Martha. Barbara Parker's watching us. Hello to Melanie Robertson. Hello to Kathy Maxwell. Kathy is down there in Ozark. We've talked to Kathy several times during severe weather events, and she was asking the question about Ozark. And yeah, Kathy, you got lots of rain coming your way, and probably some wind gusts 40 to 45 miles per hour. And you're in that area where we could see a severe thunderstorm with a pop-up tornado too. So, Kathy, you need to stay very abreast of the latest weather information and be weather aware. Thank you, Cody. I appreciate the kind words. Thank you, Amber. There's Luverne, Alabama, Miss Marissa. I'm very, very, very familiar with Luverne. Grew up in Prattville, Alabama. Second home was in Seagrove Beach. And guess which road leads from Prattville to Seagrove? 331, right through Brantley and Luverne. Best boiled peanuts in the world, Luverne, Alabama. Hello, Woodland. Mr. Harold Whitaker, thank you, sir. We appreciate you. Harold's in public safety, too. He's a firefighter. Worked right beside him for 16 years in Randolph County, Alabama, Roanoke to be exact. Yeah, I'm going to show the track again in just a few moments. We'll go through that whole thing again here in just a few minutes. Delta, Alabama. Thank you, Helen. Yeah, Chance is watching after Miss Mary's frogs. Those of you that don't know, Miss Mary Wilkins lives in Frog Eye, Alabama. So we give her a hard time about her frogs. Becky Fox in LaGrange over there in Troup County. There's Miss Deborah. Yeah, I'm loving these temperatures too, Miss Deborah. I sat on the front porch this morning, had a cup of coffee, and normally in the summertime, I'm, in shorts and flip-flops. Not this morning. It was a wee bit on the chilly side, and I like it. Jenny asking the question about 4 to 8 inches in central Alabama, and she's got 3 question marks out there where she's really don't think that could happen. Yeah, it could. It certainly could. Autauga, Elmore. Actually, you could see more than that. It's possible that you could see more than 4 to 8 inches. If we've got the track pegged now, then it's certainly possible you could see 4 to 8 inches of rain up there. Prattville, winds in Prattville probably in the 30 mile per hour gust range, not sustained, but you could see a wind gust of 30 miles per hour in Prattville. Ron's in Duluth. Rome, Georgia in the house. Thank you, Gloria. Thank you, Jenny. All right, let me go back down to the bottom. Larry's asking if we're going to see any rain in Ashland. Larry, by this time tomorrow night, you are probably going to be sick of rain in Ashland, Alabama. If the track verifies, if Sally doesn't throw us any more curves and does what we think she's going to do, and if you'll notice, over the last maybe 2 to 3 updates from the National Hurricane Center, nothing has changed. The tracks have been pretty consistent. And once you start to see that, you can pretty much go to the bank that they've got it nailed down. There's still a chance that surprises could happen, but I feel pretty confident in the track that they're giving us now, which again is making landfall somewhere around Gulf Shores and then turning to the right shortly after landfall, and then running pretty much parallel to I-65 up to a point just south of Montgomery, maybe around Troy, and then running parallel to I-85 over to the Alabama-Georgia state line near Columbus, and then turning to the right a little bit more and going across Macon, and then entering South Carolina just south of Augusta. Now understand that just because that's the track, if you live north of that track, you don't have anything to worry about, because that couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth. If you'll notice, and let me just go take the radar. And I know it's hard to see if you're watching on a phone, which, by the way, if you have a smart television, go to YouTube, and you can watch us on YouTube on that big screen TV, and you can see detail a whole lot better than on that phone. If you are watching us on a phone, make sure you rotate your phone and put your video on full screen. You can see a lot better that way as well. But you see that flashing line right there in the middle of the screen. That is the projected track of the storm. So notice, and let me just stop it on the last loop. Notice, I know it's hard to see because all those watches in one. Let me turn them off. All right. Notice how far north the rain goes from the center of circulation. And I can measure that for you. All right, there's the center of the storm. And the furthest rain, we're talking heavy rain now, let's just go on out to the edge of it, because some of that could be heavy too. All right, that's 185 miles. 185 miles, folks. So the heavy rain shield with this storm is stretching 185 miles to the north of circulation. So let's do it this way. If it takes the track that we have drawn here, and let's go up here to, let's go to around Monroeville. And let's go 185 miles, let's go northeast. See, I'm off the screen. You know, I'm up here north of I-20. So this rain shield, it's not going to stay this large. Once she makes landfall and she starts losing a little bit of her intensity, the rain shield will shrink a little bit. But let's just say 100 miles. Let's be conservative and say we go 100 miles. And I think that is conservative, way conservative. Then that takes the heavy rain shield all the way up into the Birmingham area before it starts turning back off to the east. So, let's do one other thing here. Using that theory, everything along and south is down, back toward Montgomery. Everything along and south of that line that I just drew on the radar is going to get the heavy rains from Hurricane Sally. And you could be looking at up to 6, 7, 8, 9, or some locations even 10 inches of rain in this area that I just put on the map. And that's not to say Birmingham and Tuscaloosa won't get anything, because you will. I'm just being conservative with the heaviest rain. That's what we're looking at. So, yeah, to answer your question, 4 to 6 inches, I think, is on the conservative side for central Alabama. Okay, let's go back up here. Montgomery, same deal, Kyle. Montgomery's probably in the bullseye for the heavy rain. 10 inches in Montgomery wouldn't surprise me. And we're talking in a 12-hour time span. So you can only imagine. I mean, we're talking right around an inch an hour for 10 to 12 hours in Montgomery. And so you know that's going to cause a lot of flooding problems in the city of Montgomery. Chance brings up a very good point. Turn around, don't drown. It's not worth it. If you can't see the pavement, then the water's too deep. I don't care if you think it's just an inch deep. Problem is you can't see what's under that water. Has the roadway already washed out from under the water? Has that culvert already blown out? Now, I know you hear that, but I'm telling you, folks, we had that happen up here last spring. We had a horrible rainstorm, a culvert washed out, left a 30-foot crater across a dark country road, and we had someone drive off into it. The water was still covering the road. They thought it was just a little water across the roadway, so they drove on across and off down into a 30-foot hole they went. I mean, they were okay. They were rescued and everything was fine, but that could have ended very bad. So if you see water crossing a roadway, don't even attempt it. Your life and your family's life is just not worth taking that risk. And unfortunately, we see people do it all the time. Thank you, Becky. Corey Nord's talking about Stapleton, Alabama. Yeah, probably is. Getting a little hairy down there. Blue Ridge, Georgia. Yeah, we're going to get some rain up here. I'm not but about 30 miles southeast of Blue Ridge, maybe 40. And, yeah, we could see some significant rain up this way, too. You have to understand, if your hometown is Blue Ridge, then you already know this. But the mountains interact with weather systems different from just normal weather. And even though the center of circulation probably won't make it this far north, the moisture streaming from the storm and the backdoor cold front that's coming in, all that's a factor. And then when it interacts with the mountains up here, it can amplify things and cause us to have a lot of rain up here as well. All right, so Deborah says the National Weather Service has issued a flood warning for the Tallapoosa River starting Thursday morning. Yeah, I saw that earlier. There are a lot of advisories out there right now for a lot of different things. Of course, once we start having warnings that affect East Alabama and West Georgia, I will post those on Facebook as I always do. But to keep from, let me just see. Yeah, see, I just turned on everything that's been issued. I mean, wow. You can't understand anything. You got all the green, that's the flash floods. Now, I do not have the river products turned on because if I did, it would be so cluttered you wouldn't be able to even make out where the state of Alabama was at, much less where the Tallapoosa River is. But they have issued a lot of products already. And that's only going to get worse. Megan is asking the question, should she leave her mobile home? Well, Megan, where are you? First of all. And unless you're down on the coast, no. You're okay. If you're in East Alabama, our primary coverage area, there's no need to leave your mobile home. It could get a little gusty from time to time, and, heavy rainfall. Certainly can't rule out the possibility of a few trees coming down, but the wind itself will not be strong enough to cause any problems in a mobile home. Hello, John. Harold Harmon, County Road 56 in Randolph County. Thank you, Corey. Look at old Chance, boy. He is on top of it, isn't he? So there is your Tallapoosa River flood warning at Wadley, which will also affect Chambers, Randolph, and Tallapoosa counties. Heavy rainfall of up to 9 inches is possible through Thursday over the Tallapoosa River Basin. A flood warning is now in effect. The National Weather Service office in Birmingham has issued a flood warning for the Tallapoosa River at Wadley. That is from Thursday morning to late Sunday night. 8 p.m. Tuesday, the stage was 3.7 feet. Flood stage is 13 feet. Minor flooding is forecast. The river is expected to rise above flood stage Thursday morning to a crest of 19.6. So that, well, let's see, let me read on. Let's see, 19.6 feet early Friday afternoon. It will then fall below flood stage early Sunday morning. At 20 feet, some flooding occurs in lower lying areas around Wadley. So yeah, 20 to 25 feet is when we really start having problems, and they're not forecasting the river to get much above about 19 feet. That mostly gets pasture land and recreation land around the river. But I just happen to know some folks that have some recreation land along the river at just north of the bridge, so we'll make sure they know about all that. Oh, it's about apple time, Kathy. Mm-hmm. I always take that ride up through Lumpkin County, up past Amicalola Falls, on up to Blairsville. Hit all those apple orchards up there. We normally do that third weekend in October. However, I think we're going to have to do it on the second weekend in October this year because all the young ones are coming that weekend. Thank you, Cindy. Well, Deborah, the answer I would give you on that is the Little Tallapoosa is a tributary. It's not a main waterway. And I have actually seen a flood warning for the Little Tallapoosa, but they don't do it in advance. When you start flooding or get close to flood stage up there, they will issue a warning for it. All right, folks, so here's what we're going to do. Continue to post questions if you have any. I'll be more than happy to answer questions for you. We're going to go, it's 9:06. I'm going to take this out to around 9:15 or 9:20. And then I'm going to have to go away because I've still got to get my God's Country weather done for tomorrow. And then I have to make a trip to Atlanta in the morning. Pray for me. And then I'll be back mid-afternoon. And should be back in the studio about the time the heavy rains start moving into East Alabama. And we'll certainly do some coverage for you tomorrow afternoon. Just noticing here, we do have a new tornado warning. Let's see. That's down at Port St. Joe. And let's see what we've got here on the Southern Union State Community College live Doppler HD radar. National Weather Service in Tallahassee has issued a tornado warning for southwestern Guff County in the panhandle of Florida. And that's in effect until 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 9:30 Central. So about another 23 minutes or so. At 10:04 p.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located about 10 miles south of Port St. Joe, moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. And see, that's a very short tornado warning, and that's what you'll see in this event. You'll see these warnings issued, and they'll only be for 15, 20, sometimes 30 minutes because these storms are moving so fast. And the blue lines down there are special marine warnings that are also in effect for that same area. All right, I'm gonna let's just look at a few cameras. I'll take you back to live storm chasing. Again, this is Brett Adair. He is from Sylacauga, Alabama. He works for, or actually helped put together this website, livestormchasing.com. I encourage you to go over there and check it out. They've got multiple people down there along the Gulf Coast covering these storms, and they're actually there live. It looks like he's along the beach. Real hard to make out what we're looking at here, but I think it may be the public pier at Gulf Shores. You can see some pretty good wave action out there on the end of the pier. And just bear with me. I want to look and see if we have any other cameras running right now. That's on Brett's page. It's pretty cool too. See, you get a map that shows you where all the cameras are currently transmitting from. So we've got. All right, so Brett's actually in Orange Beach. And then we have Ryan Carty. Who's in Gulf Shores. Let's see if we can get anything on his feed. Yeah. Looks like he's in a parking deck at Gulf Shores. I'll turn his audio up a little bit. You're not going to hear much.
Said, you two nuts. Did you bring your emoji? I got myself a nut. That's why I beep. Oh yeah, I would have.
Well, as you can see, not a whole lot going on now except a lot of rain. And that's one of the dangers of this storm because we don't have buildings blowing over, thank goodness. We don't have trees blowing over. We don't have a lot of loss of power down there because the winds aren't that bad. But that hidden monster, it's called water, and it can just creep up on you in a heartbeat. And they've been getting a lot of rain down there all day long, and that's going to continue at least through tomorrow morning in the same area. Now you're looking at a shot from the waterfront there on the Gulf side there in Gulf Shores. Just a couple of more comments here I wanted to address before we run through the forecast again right quick and then call it a night. Sharon's asking a question. She's making a statement, actually, that she's worried about flooding because she lives downstairs in an apartment. Well, Sharon, if you don't have a creek or stream or river very close by, then you have nothing to be concerned about. And if you have a sizable waterway right outside your back door, then yes, you probably should be concerned. But most likely you don't. So it's the flood inundation issues will be much more pronounced down on the coast. You're in Tallapoosa County and Alexander City, if memory serves me correct. And unless you live right next to a fairly sizable body of water, then odds are you're not going to have any issues. We certainly could see some rivers and creeks go into flood stage across East Alabama on Wednesday and most likely, though, on Thursday, because understand it takes a minute for the water to get downstream. So the flooding doesn't happen immediately. It takes a while. But we certainly could see some momentary localized street flooding during the heaviest downpours. Then we could see some rivers and creeks go into flood stage as well. But typically speaking, our part of the country handles a lot of rain fairly well. And you know where those flood-prone areas are. If you live in a flood-prone area, then you might want to think about doing something different until the rain stops. But this is not going to be a flood inundation across East Alabama and West Georgia like I'm afraid we're going to wake up to tomorrow morning down there along the Alabama and Northwest Florida Gulf Coast. Thank you, Linda. Deborah said, She said that she's so glad that she's back in the land of traffic jams behind John Deere tractors. Yeah, I get stuck down there at 285 and 400, and I start dreaming of the days of having to fight traffic on 431 in Main Street in Roanoke. Thank you, Janelle. You're welcome, Sharon. Yeah, Joe, I unfortunately go through Atlanta at least once a week, sometimes more than that. Yeah, you've heard all your life you can't go anywhere without going through Atlanta, and that's just about the truth. All right, so let's go back to the radar. I'm going to run through the path one more time, and then we're going to put this to bed tonight. And folks, let me say this. Thanks to all of you folks who support Dr. Don's weather page. You know, we've been at this now for a little over a year. April was a year ago that we started this, and the support has just been phenomenal, and I thank you for that. You know, for those of you that are not familiar, I spent 22 years in broadcast radio in East Alabama. And so a lot of folks got to know me that way, and they knew that if it came up a cloud at 2 o'clock in the morning, I was going to be there on the radio giving you the weather information. And there's a reason for that. East Alabama and some parts of West Georgia is kind of out there no man's land when it comes to weather coverage. And that's no one particular person or television station's fault. It's just the way it's happened. It's called business. Unfortunately, television stations, you got the Birmingham market and the Atlanta market, and they've got millions of people in their backyard. And so when the severe weather leaves their area and gets out into rural Alabama, they have to go back to regular programming, or their sponsors will go somewhere else. And so then they can't put food on their table. So I understand why it happens. It's just, it's unfortunate that it's that way, but it is. So that's where I can fill the gap. With modern technology the way it is, I can bring you the severe weather coverage. It wouldn't matter if I was halfway around the world. I could still do it for you. Because I can see it all right in front of me, just like I was sitting there. And I have a lot of folks who are physically there that feed information to me as well. So thank you, though, because it does take resources to make all of this happen. And trust me, it's not cheap. And so I appreciate anything that you can do to help us out here at Dr. Don's weather page. That keeps us on the airwaves, and so that we can continue to bring you severe weather coverage and your daily weather forecast as well. Right there in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see the link that you can go to support us. It's real simple, it's secure, it's easy, and we appreciate anything you can possibly do. It's paypal.me/Dr. Don WX. And at the top of every one of our videos that we have posted on Facebook and over on YouTube and on drdonwx.com, there's a link at the top of every one of those videos. And all you have to do is go click on it. It'll take you over to the secure server where you can help us out. And we appreciate everything you can do to help us out. All right, so let's go back to the radar, which just decided to take a hiatus. And let's see if we can take Birmingham. Maybe. Not. All right, well, I can at least show you what the track is looking like anyway. Oh, I see why. cooking with granola oil. All right, so Sally is about 60 miles or so south of the mouth of the Mobile Bay, and is turning to the north, maybe a shade, a degree or two to the right of due north. And if this track is correct, Sally will make landfall out there on the western side of Gulf Shores, between Gulf Shores and out there on the tip out there at Fort Morgan. Could also actually shoot the gap right there between Fort Morgan and Dauphin Island. Either way, it's ground zero is going to be right here at the mouth of the Mobile Bay. And they're just, right now, they're getting into the heaviest weather they have seen so far. Some of the really heavy feeder bands are coming on shore. And then once we get landfall, right there around Oyster Bay, the extreme southeast tip of Oyster Bay, Sally is expected to start to curve back over to the east, cross I-10, cross just to the east of, or continue northeast, just east of Atmore. And then somewhere around Bruton, Alabama, begin to curve back to the right. We'll move between Evergreen and Andalusia. Come very close to Luverne, just north of Troy, possibly right over Union Springs, and then exit Alabama on the Phoenix City side of Columbus, crossing over the Chattahoochee River into Muskogee County. That's the track that we are going with right now. Bear with me while I'm pulling up another product I want to look at here. And the timing on that. The timing is somewhere around midnight or shortly after. We should start to see the outer wall touch land, and landfall will begin. By 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, Sally should be right around I-10. By about 1 a.m. Thursday morning, Sally should be maybe Luverne. By 1 p.m. on Thursday, Sally should be near Phoenix City. And then by 1 a.m. Friday, we're going to be over there in Georgia, just southwest of Augusta, maybe around Macon or Dublin by 1 a.m. Friday morning. And then on over to near Florence, South Carolina by 1 p.m. Friday. Now on that track, remember we showed you a few moments ago that the rain shield is, conservatively speaking, stretching out 100 miles to the north of the eye of the storm. So if that track verifies, then the heavy rain shield will get into central Alabama, places like Prattville, Montgomery, Millbrook, Elmore County, maybe even Clanton. It will also get up into Alexander City, Rockford, Ashland, Lineville, Talladega, Sylacauga, Ranburne, Woodland, Wedowee, Wadley, Roanoke, Lafayette, Valley, Carrollton, Franklin, LaGrange, down into Harris County. All those places I just mentioned could see anywhere from 6 to 10 inches of rain. Now, the further south you go, closer to the line, you stand a better chance of seeing the 10 inches. The further away from the track of the eye, the less the amount of rain you're going to see. That's the way this works. The window of opportunity for East Alabama is basically going to be from about 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow being Wednesday, until about 3 a.m. Thursday morning. So we're looking at about a 12-hour window there where you could literally have rain falling as hard as you've ever seen it, non-stop for 12 hours. Now, prior to that, certainly during the overnight hours tonight and throughout the day tomorrow, you could see a few scattered showers from time to time. We've already had a few of those. And when I zoom in, looking at East Alabama, let me go back to the radar shot. You can see that the outer edge of the constant rain has already made it up to Eufaula and Troy. Now, that's not very heavy, but it's solid from Eufaula, Troy, and Greenville all the way down to the eye of the hurricane. The stuff that you've been seeing today and occasionally this evening are just scattered showers, and they've been very light. But that rain shield will continue to move to the north throughout the remainder of the night and may very well be up into East Alabama by sunrise in the morning. So rain could start as early as sunrise, consistent rain, but it'll be light for the most part until Wednesday afternoon, 2, 3 o'clock. That's when the heavy stuff moves in, and it hangs in there with you for 10 to 12 hours. And then you'll go back to consistent light rain, and then you'll go back to just scattered showers. And I'm thinking now by sundown Thursday, the rain will be gone, even though we still officially have a chance of rain in the forecast for Friday. It's a small chance, and I think that will be removed if this old gal will start moving. She's just been sitting out there spinning all day long. But the forecast is that she will start moving and will make landfall towards sunrise tomorrow morning. All right, my friends, I have certainly enjoyed our time together this evening. And just want to say one more time, if you would like to help us out and support us, please go to paypal.me/Dr. Don WX. I will be posting weather advisories throughout the day tomorrow, and then I'll be back in the studio tomorrow afternoon, and we'll certainly go live and cover things for you as the heavy rain bands move into East Alabama and West Georgia. Until that time, y'all be safe, love one another, and good Lord willing and the creek don't rise, I'll see you back in here at least by Wednesday afternoon on Dr. Don's Weather Page. Good night, folks.